I heard that this evening there is a meeting of the World Cataract Foundation with its supporters and those who have worked in it. I'm sorry that I cannot be there. I'm happy that you have been able to do so many things for poor blind people in the world. I'm glad that I had a small part in getting you interested in doing it. We got to Pakistan because when I was 15 or 16 years old, I ran into a verse in the Bible that says, "What makes you different from anyone else? What do you have that wasn't a gift? It was a gift. What are you bragging about?" At that point, I realized everything I had, I'd gotten from God, and I should do whatever I could that He asked me to do. Well, at some point along the way, I told the Board of Foreign Missions, I want to be a medical missionary. I'll go wherever you send me, but I'm particularly interested in India. So in 1947, India got divided into India and Pakistan when it got its independence from England. And Muslims had to move from India to Pakistan. Hindus had to move from Pakistan to India. 6 million went this way, 6 million went that way, and in the process, 1 million got murdered. And so there were millions of refugees. When I was asked, would you go for a 6-month contract to help with the refugees? I was engaged to a beautiful nurse at that time. We got married, and 3 weeks later, we were in Pakistan. At the end of the 6-month period, the elders of the mission work out there said, "Oh, this is very nice. We have a doctor and a nurse here, and we happen to have a hospital that needs them. So wouldn't you be willing to stay for a while, and then you'll finish your training when you go back?" We agreed to stay. We went back 7 years later with 3 kids. The hospital that was empty, not empty, but needed help, was in the village of Taxila. That's what got us to Taxila. And the hospital had been running for 25 years and had established a reputation as a place where eye surgery was done. So it was clear that I needed to learn how to do cataract surgery. There were a lot of patients coming with cataracts. The man who was there as my mentor knew how to do cataracts. He showed me how, and patients would come eventually from 50 miles, 100 miles, because here's a hospital where you could get a good result at a price you could afford in a place that took care of village people in a village way. If you wanted to bring a chicken with you, you could bring a chicken. If you brought firewood and put it under your bed, that's okay. It was a village hospital for village people. So that's how I got into ophthalmology. When I first went to Taxila, the number of cataracts done was up to about 1,000 a year, 3 a day. When I left, the number was up to 14,000 a year. People often ask, why did you do so many cataracts? Is the incidence of cataracts higher in India and Pakistan than in America? I think it is not. I think the incidence of cataract surgeons is too low. We once had to report to the government, what population do you serve? I didn't know, so I drew a circle around the hospital of 75 miles. We were treating 2 million people. If an American surgeon had to take care of 2 million patients, he couldn't do it. We adapted things. We rejected anything that was not essential, because no lawyer was going to sue us. We streamlined things. We delegated. We set up a team of 10 people to keep things moving quickly, and we were able to do a surprising number of cataracts. Cataracts were done by other surgeons in Pakistan, but not at a price people could afford. We would admit a patient, do an operation on him, keep him in the hospital for 6-7 days for a total of $5.50. Our practice of ophthalmology was changed by making it simpler. Get rid of all the extra things. To do a cataract operation, you don't have to drape the patient's feet. You have to drape the patient's face, which we did. And we eventually moved things so they became very efficient. In the 1970s, the implantation of intraocular lenses became popular in America, and was pointed out that this gives a beautiful result for cataract surgery. In Pakistan, we wanted to give the best result to our patients. So we started to investigate, can this be done in a village situation with poor people? And we started to put in intraocular lenses. In those days, intraocular lenses cost $100 to $400. We charged people $5 for the whole thing. So we had to get someone to give us lenses. Over the years, we used 40 different kinds of lenses. Most of them came from Holland through Dr. Jan Wurst. He was interested in the third world. I had met him at an eye meeting in Florida, told him what we did. He said we should be using intraocular lenses there. He was going to meet me as I went through Holland on my way to Pakistan. But he forgot. So instead of meeting for 2 hours, we met for 10 minutes. And he handed me 8 lenses made by Dr. Brinkhorst and said, put these in, but put them in backwards. I think they'll work better. So the first 8 lenses I put in were put in backwards, and they worked. We then presented a paper in Japan in 1978 about the first 500 lenses we had put in. And the audience this was some international meeting. I think everyone in the meeting was surprised that this had happened. And a certain percentage of the audience didn't believe it, thought I had made it up. And Dr. Freeman happened to be at that meeting and was impressed that here's someone who's trying to put lenses in that poor people can afford. It was apparent that in the kind of a situation we were in, nobody can afford $100 for a lens. We charged people $5.50, which is a week's earning for a farmer in Pakistan. I happen to be a somewhat efficient person. So I looked at the American cataract operation and said there are certain steps here that aren't essential. They are done in self-defense. So we eliminated those. And then we noticed if we put the instruments right here, we could do things quicker. If we got a number of people to do things which the doctor has to do in America, we could move quicker. So a nurse put the drops in the eyes, a nurse did the injection, the surgeon stepped up when the eye was washed and draped and did the operation. At the end of the operation, which took a few minutes, he stepped to the next table. The operating room had 4 tables. Someone in Pittsburgh asked me, how long do you spend between operations? He said, I can't do a second one for 45 minutes because I have to clean the room. I said, when I step over there 6 feet away, I'm ready for the next operation. I don't know what the number was in the first couple of years, but I know that over the first 10 years, we did 3,000 implants. But we also, under those 10 years, did 107,000 cataracts. So we did roughly 3% of the patients with intraocular lenses during the first 10 years. It was obvious if intraocular lenses are to be used in the third world where people are poor, they have to be cheaper. And I had no way of causing them to be made cheaper, but Dr. Freeman had ideas. When I first went there, I went there to serve people in need. And there were sick people of all kinds. We treated whoever came, but the hospital's reputation grew so that most of the patients were eye patients. They were blind. We know how to do a cataract that would relieve their blindness. They were poor people. They were nice people.